What's up, y'all? Today I'm gonna teach you how to do a batwing on your wakeboard at the cable park. The tricks you're gonna wanna already know how to do, or at least will be very helpful when learning this trick, are basically just a toe side jump off the kicker. A railie would be extremely helpful, and also a nollie start off the dock would be helpful as well. Oh, and also you're gonna need to know how to do an indie grab. Whenever I set up for a batwing, I try and make sure I'm just on the other side of the cable than the kicker you're actually approaching, and I like to roll on a nice progressive edge to maybe a sort of medium-ish kind of edge. This trick could be done also with a gentle edge or a really hard edge as well. Just sometimes whenever you do the gentle edge, you won't get as much pop, and if you take a really hard edge, you might get a lot more tension, so a kind of medium edge might be the best one to take. Now that you're on that medium edge towards the kicker, make sure you edge all the way to it, and just before it, you're gonna wanna sort of flatten off, and I personally at this point sort of like to drop my rear hand before I start riding up the kicker. As you're going up the kicker, you should be in sort of a squatted position, and as you're approaching the top of the kicker, you should be pushing and standing nice and tall to get maximum pop. As you're pushing off the very top of the kicker to get that nice pop, you should simultaneously be sort of letting your board drift out behind you. And as your board is drifting out behind you, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're maintaining line tension with your front hand while also reaching down to your board with your rear hand, grabbing indie. Something that I find extremely helpful when doing batwings is letting the board drift out behind you as early as possible. If you're only trying to let it out just a little bit and then a little more and a little more, I find that that requires a lot more muscle to actually get it back down below you. So if you just fully commit and use your balls and let that board drift all the way out to the peak, it's going to be a lot easier for you to land this trick. Now that you've grabbed indie and your board has drifted out behind you all the way to the peak, you're going to need to get this board back down below you. And to do this, it's going to be very similar to a railie. You're going to have that line tension right here with your front hand. You're almost going to want to sort of push down on that handle while also pulling it towards your hip at the same time, and that will really help get that board back down underneath you. Now your board is on its way back down below you. You've been able to sort of spot your landing the entire time. At this point, you can let go of that indie grab, be ready to land on the water, bend your knees on impact, and just ride away on your toes. I'm gonna give you a brief little summary on the entire trick. Make sure you're just on the opposite side of the cable than the kicker you're actually approaching. Take a nice progressive edge, rolling into sort of a medium edge in towards the kicker. Make sure you edge all the way up to the kicker, and just before it, that's when you're gonna wanna sort of flatten off, drop your rear hand, and as you're riding up the kicker, make sure you're squatted, standing taller and taller, and giving it a nice solid push off the top of the kicker while also sort of letting that board drift out behind you. You're gonna wanna make sure you reach down, grab indie, let that board drift up all the way to the peak of the trick. That's when you can take this front hand with that nice line tension you have, start pulling it down while simultaneously pushing it towards your hip to get that board back underneath you. You'll be able to spot your landing the entire time. So as you're approaching the water, bend your knees on impact and just ride away. I'm gonna say this tip once again: if you just let your board drift out behind you all the way as early as possible, it will be much easier than actually trying to sort of gradually work your way into this trick. If you just sort of let it out and try to do a little bit more each time, that is way harder than just using your balls and letting the board drift all the way out behind you. It'll come down way easier if you do it this way, because if you only halfway let it out, it requires way more muscle to actually get the board back below you. So just let the board drift out, use that front hand, pull it back down. It will be way easier this way, I promise. That's how you do the Batwing. If you guys like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Comment below what kind of tricks you guys want to learn next and what kind of videos you guys want to see next. Remember, I'll be uploading a wakeboarding video every second day forever, so make sure you guys subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. Peace!